Yeah, we did pretty well, but I have a feeling a lot of people did pretty well this last week. A lot of favorites won. If you had gut feelings, you ignore those gut feelings for week 15 because they got both of us when we went with
Yeah.
our gut, I think. So I actually went 15-1, and you went 14-2. I would have been 16-0, but at the last pick that we did last week, Atlanta and Las Vegas, I was like,
Oh
I
yeah.
gotta pick one underdog or like
Yeah.
one weird one, and so I picked the Raiders like an idiot. And I'm telling you, I wouldn't have done it if I'd known it was Desmond Ritter.
Oh yeah.
I was like, oh, I thought it was AOC or
Mm-hmm.
anyone, not Desmond Ritter. So,
Yeah.
oh well, it got me. And to be fair, that game came down to a last play kind of thing. So, I mean that. And now Kirk Cousins has been benched. I don't know if you saw that, but
Yeah.
that is interesting.
Yes,
So,
it is.
moving on into week 16. Games kind of all over the place again. Well, all over the place. We've got Saturday football this week, and that should be really good. So, anyway, moving to the first game. Thursday night is actually one of the rare good Amazon Prime games on Thursday night, which is the Broncos at the Chargers. Both teams kind of need this. The Chargers looked like a playoff shoe-in for most of the year, and now they're kind of collapsing. It's like they peaked a little bit. The Broncos are maybe more like plateaued but not falling. So we'll see on this one. They're favoring the Chargers by 3 in LA, but I mean, I'm thinking this one may actually go Denver's way. So I'll take Denver for this one and see what happens. But yeah, it should be at least a fun game on Thursday night. I will say I think it's between the number 1 and the number 2 like scoring defenses. So maybe pick the under. But what do you see for this one?
Yeah, I think I was a little surprised at how much the Chargers got manhandled by the Bucks. I mean, Baker had such a clean game, but the Bucks seem to be getting more balanced over the season. But still, yeah, I was a little surprised by that. I just think Denver has been so much more consistent. I feel like they're playing very consistent football. I've got to take Denver on that. I think that Bo looks good week to week. I still like him probably at this point as probably the best of the rookie quarterbacks, which is saying a lot with Jaden floating around out there. But I'll take Denver on that. Next up, heading into Saturday, is going to be Houston and Kansas City. I think this will be a good game. I hope this is a good game. I want to say that I heard this week that the Chiefs had not scored 30 points in a game. I don't think that they're necessarily going to do that this week. Houston's coming off that win against the Dolphins, which is was an odd game in many ways. I don't know. I totally think Houston could win this game. I just think the Chiefs have been so consistent at just finding ways to win in a lot of close games. I kind of expect them to do the same here. I think both these teams are just hoping to make it out of this one healthy. So yeah, I'll take the Kansas City on this one. Just on they seem to find the way to win even in close games mode. So where are you at on that one?
Yeah, we were very close, I guess, to this one not being much of a choice at all. But it looks like everything I'm reading, at least, is that Patrick Mahomes' ankle is pretty mild, so that's good for them. I feel like for some reason I think in certain ways the Texans' defense matches up pretty well against them. I could see Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter really getting after him with Derek Stingley causing some problems in the secondary. They're playing pretty well right now. They were able to just shut down Tyreek Hill. So we'll see. But on the other side of it, I'm not sure that I have much confidence at all in the Texans offense right this second against the Chiefs defense that has been elite all year long. So could be a really close game. It's another one similar to the last one where I was like, I'd probably take the under on this one. I'll go out on a limb and I'll take Houston. I think this will be really close though. But yeah, I think maybe they sneak away somehow, and maybe the Chiefs' luck finally runs out. Though, I have no reason to believe that that's actually the case. But we'll see. I'll live with the pick. Then we've got Steelers and Ravens. We got two good Saturday games actually, so that's really good.
Yeah.
It's gonna be hard sledding for Derrick Henry. Saquon Barkley wasn't able to do much against the Steelers defense. I'm kind of doubting that Derrick Henry will be able to do much either, to be completely honest. The Steelers have played the Ravens well the last few years. This could be like the Steelers' upset game. And, the Ravens have let some slip away. So I think I'm going to pick the Steelers here. I'm just going to go
Okay.
all the upsets just to be silly. What do you see for this one?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, I think this should be a good game. But then again, I thought Pittsburgh and Philly should be a good game, and it was more heartbreaking than anything. Um, I think Baltimore. It's so, especially after Baltimore's last game, which I think highlighted one of the real changes this season, right? Which is, hey, I don't have to run the ball all the time. Maybe I can just sit back here and make easy passes for touchdowns. I just think they're so balanced. I feel like it's their game to lose. So I'll stick with Baltimore on this one. And then looking at the first game on Sunday, which just makes me sad for football in general, is Atlanta, the Ritter Atlanta, right? Against what am I saying there? Against the that's right. Against the Giants. But have they announced who's quarterbacking this game yet?
Okay. Michael Penix moving forward.
Penix. Okay. So this is, I think that's a fun wrench to go into it. I just think the Giants are so bad. It's hard to pick them at all, even with not having seen Penix. I was listening to some people talk about how he looks in practice, which supposedly is phenomenal. So I'm going to take Atlanta just because I think that overall they're still performing better. I think the Giants, like Tim Boyle and Tommy DeVito out there, is something else. So I'll take Atlanta on that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good game. I mean, this is a good game for them to bring Penix out. It's against a potential number one overall draft pick kind of a team. But the one thing the Giants have going for them, I will say, is pass rush. So if they can do some disguise looks on the secondary and then get the pass rush after him, with Thibodeau and Burns, you might actually see some pressure make something of a difference in this game. But I don't think it's going to be enough. And if the Giants put up 10 points, it might surprise me. Their offense has nothing working now. Even Tracy, the running back, isn't producing like he was 4, 5, 6 weeks ago. So just nothing is working there right now. And they're in complete implode. Implode may be the wrong word, but just they're headed straight to the top of the draft. So it is what it is at this point. And we'll see. But yeah, I'll take the Falcons right there with you. How much by, I wouldn't venture a guess there. I think he could have a fairly rough start and still win this game. But he might have a Patrick Mahomesian kind of first game where it's like, oh, wow, I got to actually sit behind a good quarterback. And maybe, Kirk Cousins isn't playing all that well now, but he has historically, and he knows how to, he knows how to quarterback, even if he can't do it anymore. So, yeah, we'll see. But I'll take Atlanta. Next, I've got Lions Bears. So, yeah, we're just gonna keep going with great football games. I know it's division. I know it's in Chicago in December, and I still can't think of any reason why Detroit should lose this game. Oh, and I know Detroit's missing 18 people on IR now. Still thinking they're gonna win. I can't. If Caleb Williams isn't dejected, I think he might need psychiatric help. He probably should be dejected. I see him sitting on the sidelines just all the time, and I'm just that's what I'm thinking. Why did you do this to yourself? I mean, you go where you get drafted. But this should be Detroit. I can't talk myself into somehow them losing this one to the Bears. It would cause some interesting chaos if they did, because I think Minnesota takes the one spot. It's either them or Philly. But it would cause some interesting mayhem up at the top of the NFC boards. But yeah, the Lions should win this game. They're just too well coached, if nothing else. So, what do you see for
Oh
this
yeah,
one?
yeah, very similar. I think that look, one thing that's very apparent, especially from that last game against the Bills, is that they truly have nothing left on defense. You and I might be able to start on that defense right now. It, they're talking about like the next guys up are doing an admirable job, and I'm sure they are. But I mean, they have nothing. With that being said, Caleb, I have no faith in his ability to go and score even against these the guys that he'll be playing against on this with any level of consistency. So we'll see how it goes, but it doesn't matter. Like Detroit scored 200 more points this season than the Bears. And I think that's that's really the story. It's like you might if they scored 25, 30 points, it still wouldn't be enough. Like if and the Bears have a decent defense, it just Detroit should win this one easy. I don't see any hope in that one. So looking beyond that to the Ohio game, got Cleveland and Cincinnati. Um, Man, a couple weeks ago, I thought this would have been a pretty fun game. A good defense versus a really high-powered offense. Cincinnati has, without a doubt, proven that as prolific as their offense is, their defense is equally horrible. I'm amazed week to week. Like I think who they played Tennessee. Yeah, they played Tennessee and gave up 27 points. Like that's insane. So yeah, their defense is terrible. With that being said, Jameson Winston is he's no longer having the fun that he was having. He's been having some rough games. I'll be interested to see, and I don't even know that he's starting that. Yeah, so um, I just think that they're in trouble in this game. I expect Cincinnati will pull this one out without too much of a problem. We'll see Chase and whoever running all over the place. So, what do you think? You see the Ohio game going the other way?
No, I mean, kind of like, kind of like a couple of things. One, there's like 3 or 4 games now where starters have been benched. Some of them were backups that got benched for farther backups. But like with Michael Penix making his debut, we've also got Dorian Thompson Robinson coming out this week for the Browns. I guess they've gotten sick of Jameis. They just announced that fairly recently. And that has not gone well historically. That might make the Bengals defense look good. And then the Titans, they're moving off of Will Levis. So I don't even remember who they're putting in instead of him. I think I read. I think it's Mason Rudolph. Anyway, but we'll get to that. But for this game, it should be the Bengals. Joe Burrow, someone was talking today, I was like, despite their record at the end of the year, most likely Joe Burrow should still get an MVP nod. Like not he shouldn't win it. You need to be on a good team to win it. Like that's just how it goes. But man, the year he's putting together, even with the Tennessee game being as chaotic as it was, I think he threw 2 or 3 picks in that game. There were 10, I think, total turnovers in that game between the two teams. He just looks elite. He looks like he's probably the actual best quarterback in the league right now. But he's on a bad team. So, congrats to you if you have him in fantasy. So, I'll take Cincinnati right there with you. But, yeah, I'm just glad I probably won't have to watch that game. I'll just see highlights. So, coming off of that thriller, we've got basically a clone of the Cincinnati and Cleveland game. So here we've got the Titans and the Colts. Another division game and all that, and it should be really interesting, but it's not. It's crazy to me that the Colts are only favored by 3.5 points in Indianapolis. Them moving off of Will Levis may be the bump that they're referring to. I'm not really sure. It's sounding like it's going to be Mason Rudolph. I don't even know who their quarterback is behind that, but not someone I'm particularly scared of. So we'll see what the Colts do. I don't think, they haven't moved like off of Anthony Richardson. So this should be Indianapolis. This is one where it seems like they should take the over here. I will say the Titans do have a good defense, so fair enough. But I'm still taking the Colts here. and no get right game for Mason Rudolph. So, what do you see for this
Yeah, same. Tennessee came off a game where they scored some points against Cincinnati. Tony Pollard's doing good there, but um, Indianapolis, they just seem to have more pieces in place. I'm not a huge believer in a lot of that stuff going on with Anthony Richardson yet, but yeah, I think I would stick with Indianapolis to pull this one out, especially at home. So I'll stay with them. Looking beyond that at the Jets and the Rams, it's good to see some life out of the Jets. I think in their game, you got to see some of the offense work the way that I think we kind of thought it was going to work all season. But yeah, it's good to see them get the ball spread around. Everything I think worked out pretty well there. With that being said, the Rams I still think are looking like a playoff-ish team. I'd love to see the Jets pull out a win here. I just don't know that they've got enough to do it. My money's going on the Rams, but I wouldn't be shocked if the Jets pull this one out. I just have bet on the Jets all season long, and I think I'm going to bet against them a little bit. Maybe that'll provoke them to win. Who knows? But I'll take the Rams on this one.
Yeah, same. It wouldn't shock me. I think some of the things, excuse me, the very short list of things that the Jets do well now is starting to come together just a little bit. It was great to see Devontae get it going. I know it's just Jacksonville. It's just Jacksonville, right? Yeah. All the weeks are starting to blend together in my head. But 200 yards is 200 yards, and not everyone does that against Jacksonville. So he did something right. We'll see can they slow down Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp? That is the whole bit on offense. Can you, or for their defense, excuse me. Maybe Sauce can take one of them away. Sauce is not a particularly good open field tackling corner, but he is good at coverage. So we'll see what he can do there. That all being said, the Rams should win this game. I don't think they've got a whole lot of losses left in their regular season. I'm hoping they have one in week 17. But other than that, I don't think they have very many. So, yeah, I'll take the Rams right there with you. We get one really good, it looks like, game in the 1 o'clock bracket. And obviously, I'm talking about the Cardinals game. I'm not talking about the Cardinals game. The Eagles-Commanders should be a good game. The Commanders have a history of playing the Eagles pretty well. But since I don't think that's going to happen this week. I think they'll get back to running the ball quite well. The Eagles' defense has come into form, and they are really just killing it now. So they're the best defense in the league that no one talks about. They're not actually the best defense in the league, but they're like top 5, and everyone's like, "No, great defense would be like Kansas City and Denver and Chargers." And apparently, the entire AFC West except for the Raiders. And so on, Pittsburgh, but now Philadelphia's top 5. So yeah, I'm going to have to pick the Eagles here, and I know that doesn't bring you any joy, but I don't think that Washington will bring you a whole lot either. So yeah, I'll take Philly here. Would still love to see Saquon hit 2,000. I know he took a hit against Pittsburgh, but he should be able to right the ship somewhat here. What do you see for this one?
Yeah, similarly, I think my complaint, if you will, against Washington, who I still think is overachieved. So in a positive way, this season, is just that I think as the season goes on, I think it's harder and harder for Jaden not to try to do everything himself. And I think that's the opposite of what I want to see right now is use the people around you. Terry, I feel like McLaurin, I think is getting better as the season goes on. It feels like he's more and more dangerous as the season goes on. He's got Brian Robinson Jr. You've got other pieces. You don't have to do it all. I hope he doesn't get too carried away, because I do think here, running up to the finish line here, I think that could really cost them as a team. If he can get back to, let's just let the team play the way the team's supposed to, I think they have. I mean, I think they have a shot at Philly. Um, but Philly just looks pretty balanced. Like one week, everybody tries to shut down Saquon, no problem. We'll beat you in the air. You try to shut us down in the air, no problem. We'll run you to death. It should be their game to lose. So I'll take Philly as well, as much as it pains me to say, and and we'll go from there. The last game of the 1 o'clock time is Arizona and Carolina. I don't think there's much that needs to get said on this one. I think Arizona should win this game easily. Again, as we talked about earlier, I just want to see Arizona explore new things. You have one more week to get ready for, I think, the Rams. And so, I'd love to see them really dive into let's push our offense and all that sort of stuff. And then Carolina, I just don't think they have anything going on. So I'll take Arizona easily on that one.
Yeah, I kind of want them to copy and paste a little bit what they did last week. It's so late in the season now. To be honest with you, I've kind of given up on Arizona figuring out the wide receiver stuff. It's like it's 15 games in or 14 games in. If it's going to happen, it would happen, right? I did nearly jump out of my chair when they did just a simple crossing route to Marvin Harrison Jr. last week, and then hey, look, they caught Greg Dortch open in space, which makes tons of sense with his punt returner background and all that. Like,
yeah.
I mean, you said you mentioned earlier it was like that maybe Michael Wilson would be better suited for that, even though he's a little bit bigger. I think that's the difference between 5'7" and 6'3". Greg Dortch is smaller than Kyler Murray.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's just a little guy, as they say, but he's also super, super fast. He's the definition of scrappy. Anyway, so stuff like that. I'd like to see more of that. Now, on the other side, I'd like to see our defense get some more pressures. You had mentioned earlier Darius Robinson getting his first sack. I'd love for him to get a sequel or two.
Yep.
But let's just keep on learning, acclimating to NFL speed and all that, and just keep learning. Because if we do somehow make it to the postseason, we're going to need a little bit of pass rush. It would be nice to have one guy at least that people are kind of scared of. By the way, quick note on the Cardinals. I forgot to mention when we talked about the Cardinals. It was cool to see they just paid Buda Baker. I don't know if you saw that, but we're keeping him for the next 3 years. It's a pretty big money deal. It's like second or third highest paid safety in the league, I think, right now, like 18 a year. So good for Buda. I think it's good for the Cardinals. Be good to see moving forward. I'm glad they finally made up their mind. I did not want to enter free agency with him just walking. Either let him go or no, or sign him. So it looks like we did. So I'll take Arizona right there with you. It's a total homer pick, but it's also Carolina. So we'll see. Moving into a team where I will totally let my heart pick this next one. The first game at 4 o'clock is the Vikings at Seattle. The Vikings are favored by 3 in Seattle. Geno Smith may not even be playing. I haven't gotten a full update on that yet. I'll have to go look afterwards. But even with Geno, I'd pick the Vikings. If it's Sam Howell, I'm going to pick the Vikings. He does not give them a better chance. Even though Geno hasn't been playing exactly well, Sam Howell is not the guy. So, to be honest, it's not as much as this is a good game between a 12-2 and an 8-6, two playoff, well, one's in the playoff, the one seed in the NFC, and one that's trying to win the NFC West. Somehow, this isn't actually a good game. So, at least I don't think it is. Please don't. So we'll see. What do you see for this one?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that Seattle lost to Green Bay, I think, in their last game, and I don't think Green Bay is better than Minnesota. I think that Minnesota, because of Detroit, gets overshadowed in that sense. They're a really good football team. They play very balanced. If you can make Seattle one-dimensional, it generally leads to a lot of good things. I just don't see, even if they have everyone back, and I think I looked up Geno's health, and it's still iffy, but I think they're expecting him to practice some. So we'll see. But yeah, I expect Minnesota will pull this one out handily going in. Not as handily as New England and Buffalo, where I expect Buffalo will steamroll New England. Buffalo doesn't play anyone the rest of the year, right? They play New England twice and some other 3-win team or 2-win team. And so I would think that Buffalo for the rest of the season, they just don't want to get injured. You know what I mean? Like they don't have anything else to prove. It's just how healthy can you stay the rest of the season. So I'll take Buffalo in that game too. I think that's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it's a healthy dose of James Cook in the next couple of weeks. Um, Look at the other side of it. I'd like to see more Drake May continuing to take some shots. You can put up points. Someone was pointing out, I think the
Yeah,
Bills have allowed 86 points in the
yeah,
last two games, so you can score on them. I think that was the Bills that were talking about.
yeah.
And it'd be a good chance for him to maybe air it out. I know you're like, air it out to who? And I'm like, Kendrick Bourne, But but take some shots, take some chances. No one's expecting you to win. Buffalo is favored by 14, which is
Yeah.
not as big as how much I think it was. Well, it was the Ravens were favored against the Giants last week by 16 and a half, I think. But still, like no one thinks they're going to win this game. So go out and take a shot. Go out, go for it. But that being said, there's almost no way that they're winning this game. So I'll take Buffalo. Yeah, definitively. Then I've got a real snooze fest here. Jags Raiders. Mac Jones versus Desmond Ritter. I will say
Yeah.
that Desmond had them at a one-score game with the Falcons, and the Falcons aren't a good team, but they're not an atrociously terrible team either.
Yeah.
So there was something there. But they did me dirty. They're the reason why I didn't go 16-0 last week. So I'll take the Jaguars here. So who do you got?
Yeah, I felt like this one in a lot of ways is a toss up, between two teams that are both running some young quarterbacks at the end of the season. This one really could go either direction, but I'm sticking same as you. I'm going to stick with Jacksonville in this one. Looking past this, the very beat up San Francisco, which it is interesting. This is not a knock at Shanahan, but it is interesting because San Francisco has been beat up all year, and so is Detroit. The disparity in what they've been able to accomplish is pretty wild. Miami, I felt like Miami played an oddly not great game in their last game. So I'll be interested to see. I don't expect them to do that twice. I guess that's what I'm saying. So I'm actually going to pick Miami to win this one against the San Francisco that just seems to be continually reeling. I feel like they can't get their feet back under them. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. Hopefully, no new injuries this week for San Francisco.
Yeah, it was weird to see the Dolphins not play that well, but with what Derek Stingley was able to accomplish against Tyreek Hill in particular was quite remarkable. He may be one of the top corners in the NFL now. So, and he may have been for a minute, and I'm just slow on the take. But yeah, I won't be surprised at all if Miami wins this one. But for some reason, I'm going to take San Francisco here, just because gut feeling. I don't know what you want to call it, but I'll take San Francisco here. Brock Purdy is definitely looking to try to get paid, and right now it's not looking like they should pay him. So we'll see. Moving into Sunday night game, it's a good game, I think, between two teams that look like they're right around the middle, but it's actually I think somehow going to be a fun game. Tampa Bay at Dallas. I don't expect tons out of Dallas's offense. Again, they have a backup quarterback. Any team with a backup, I'm like, hey, just keep us afloat, right? Just don't throw the ball to the other team too much. Tampa's defense is fine. If you're planning on starting Rico Dowdle, this might be a week where I'm just like, maybe don't start Rico Dowdle. Like obviously the Cowboys have to start, but I mean in fantasy terms. And so
Yeah.
that's one thing the Bucs usually pride themselves in is trying to stop the run. Well, maybe you could throw on us, but you're gonna have to take some chances there. On the other side of this, Baker he has no fear. And so, as much as he probably should be a little bit scared of Micah Parsons, I don't think he's a little bit scared of Micah Parsons or anyone. So that can be to his detriment, but it seems like more often than not, that's to his credit. And it just his play style and the way that they're playing there seems to work out quite well. I'm not gonna lie, I'm super rooting for Mike Evans because it turns out even with all the missed time, if he averages like 85 yards a game for the next 3 games, he'll still hit 1,000 yards and continue that streak. And I'm just like, yeah, go get it, bud. Go get 1,000 yards.
Yeah,
Uh,
absolutely.
and I think the Bucks are probably right. Well, they're certainly the favorite to win the NFC South now with Atlanta reeling, Michael Penix Jr. and all that. Maybe Penix comes in and just tears it up, but I think that's asking a lot. So I will take the Bucks, but I think this could be a really fun game. So, what do you think?
Yeah, I think that the Bucks. I think it's their game to lose, right? I think that it's their game to lose for sure. I don't. I think it would be a mistake for them to overlook Dallas. Not coming in prepared, ready to go. The other thing that I will throw out there is, Baker, for all of his positives, does have that game where, the bad thing about Baker is you were just pointing out the good thing, which is it's almost like he just doesn't care who he's up against, and therefore it kind of helps him. But it also can be a detriment in the sense that he can kind of continue to do the same things, and the negative effects of it can compound as well as the positive effects. So, if he has an off game, I could see Dallas pulling this one out. If we're going to play the way we've been playing, it'll be a much more telling game for Dallas. Like, well, what are we, and where's our defense, and all that sort of stuff than our last game. So it'll be interesting. But with that being said, I'll pick Tampa in this one, as much as it pains me. But yeah, I'll take Tampa in that one. And then to round things out, we've got Green Bay and New Orleans. New Orleans is kind of, I feel like they've kind of just said, hey, everything is what it is at this point, right? It just, whatever, it is what it is. We've got, this is the season. It's pretty much done. So, and Green Bay needs to pay attention and win. So I'm going to put Green Bay to win this one. And I think that they really do need to pay attention because everything in that, division is kind of close, and we'll see how that goes. So I'll take Green Bay to close it out. What about you?
Short version is same. I will say the Saints were just in that 1-point game where they were a 2-point conversion away from beating Washington, but they didn't get that. And I'm sorry, but the Packers are better than Washington. Packers are kind of peaking a little bit, and the Washington's more not. So that all being said, it's in Green Bay. It's going to be 29 degrees, old Packer weather kind of thing, and all that. So yeah, this will be Green Bay. Earlier we talked about what game was that? It was Buffalo favored over the Patriots by 14. The Packers are favored by 14 over the Saints. So no one thinks that this is going to work for Spencer. You got to come out if it's going to be Spencer, but I think it is. Again, go out, take some shots. Just go for it, shoot your shot. Otherwise, you're just going to watch Josh Jacobs run out the clock.
Yeah.
So, yeah, just go for it, man. But I'll take Green Bay right there with him. So, But yeah, that game's not exactly great. But there are several really good games this weekend. I'm almost nervous about this week with the expectation on week 17 for the Cardinals. But, because this week is just, I can overlook it a little bit, but I'm hoping the team doesn't. So we'll see. Yeah.
I was going to say, what is the playoff picture for the Cardinals kind of look like as we kind of get closer? I mean, all those teams are within a game or two of each other. And so, it still feels like anybody could do anything. And we've got, I don't know. I just feel like it's very close there. What's that look like?
So Seattle didn't help themselves, and I think I may have mentioned Seattle had an uphill battle actually because the last 4 games that they had this season are crazy hard. Well, they just had one of them against Green Bay, and that turned out poorly for them. It's amazing for me. They've got the Vikings, the Bears, and the Rams. And the Bears, they should win that game, but the Rams, I think let's see, hold on a second, let me go back. The Rams lost to the Seahawks the first time they played, 26-20. But I don't think this Seahawks team that is playing now is as good as the team that was in week 10 or whenever this was. And the Rams are peaking. I mean, they are just firing right now. So they got a really tough closing schedule. Then you've got the Rams. The Rams are currently leading the division, I believe.
Yep.
I'm not exactly sure why they have it. Maybe first they're going with. Maybe they're just leaving it blank. I'm not really. The tiebreakers that they use in the NFL are just absurd. Not absurd, like stupid, but it's just wild. They have a much easier schedule too. They play the Jets this weekend, and the Cardinals and the Seahawks. We'll see. Again, we'll see what the Seahawks are at that time, and we'll see what the Cardinals can do against them the second time. We beat them soundly the first time. It was their best game of the year, but they didn't have Cooper Kupp. They didn't have Cooper Nakua. Offensive line was all beat up. Like they're a different team now than they were in week 2. Surprise, surprise. So we'll see. And for us, the short version is we have to win out. There are versions of things where some of those tiebreakers, man, we could all end up 10-7, and it comes down to weird tiebreakers. Like the Seahawks beat us twice, so they should be over us. But I think the Rams beat them twice. But the Rams might have it over them. And somehow, because there's 3 teams, it comes down to like division record and stuff instead. It is weird.
That's
one
crazy.
Of those things where I'm just going to see it when it happens and try to make sense of it afterwards. But we're definitely still in it, but we are in the wild west. But we're in, the one where it's going to be down to the wire, it looks like. Now, we could drop this game, and this is all irrelevant. Now it's just Seattle.
Oh, sure.
Seattle and LA. San Francisco is virtually out of it. At 6-8, they have an uphill battle. We talked about Dallas's chances at 9-8. Well, copy and paste that for San Francisco. Maybe even worse because of their division. So, it's not looking good for San Francisco this year, but they still are a well-run organization. They'll be back next year. That's kind of what it looks like. I will be rooting harder than ever for the opponents of the Los Angeles Rams and Seattle Seahawks. But we just need to keep winning our games.
Yeah, it's crazy how close that whole division is. I mean, I think Arizona still has the easiest, right? Like the easiest schedule. It depends on how you look at it, because you'll have the Rams. That's the big thing in your way. The Seahawks have it the roughest because they've got the Vikings and the Rams. But then the Rams, I mean, they still have to play both the Seahawks and the Cardinals. And the Jets are a danger enough team if you overlook them. I don't think Aaron would mind playing spoiler. So, I could be very, very interesting. I kind of see this coming down to y'all and the Rams. And it'll all come down to the game on the 28th, right after Christmas. So that's way more exciting than Dallas's division, that's for sure. So, and it is also weird to see that the Rams have the worst of all 3 offenses, the lowest scoring, and the worst defense of all 3. They actually have a negative 25 point differential in the season, and yet they're still in the driver's seat. It's kind of crazy. What an odd season, but it'll be a fun weekend. A lot of things will get figured out. I think some more people will lock things up, but your division won't be locked up pretty much no matter what happens. So it'll be pretty fun.
Not really. So, good times. Talk about it a bit later, I guess.
Sounds good.